fam, I actually have been planning on doing a video in regards to ADOS, similar to a video I did about a year or two ago. And I got a lot of comments about people assuming I did not believe in cash payments, which is totally not true because I also did a video on UBI, which was some type of similar to like a stimulus check that was sent out, that was sponsored by Yang. He also was a candidate for president initially, as well as Bernie Sanders was sponsoring it. Well, he said they weren't there yet, but he liked the idea of UBI, where since we're moving to an area where there'll be less people in jobs because there's less factories and things like that, and everything's going into a technological thing where you don't need as many people working, they wanted to do an experiment and give money out. And I said, well, why not the government doing reparations the same way? However, since they're having issues and coming up with money or acting like they have amnesia, like where's the money going to come from? There's other ways, because reparation means to make amends, restitution, to repair. So if you are trying to fix what you've done before, you've done a whole lot more than steal wealth from us. Okay, so this money would not come from taxpayers, it would come from the government. Just as if there is an issue going on, and like, for example, if the police have harmed you in some way, you go to the city and they do payouts. Of course, essentially that money, that any money gets from the government could have come from people, but this would be money that was owed to the government. So taxes you owe back to the government. And any of those extra money, the same way there's budgets and balances set up for different things, they should have something for reparations. Because let's face it, not just our wealth was taken, but you have years of slavery followed by 100 years of Jim Crow, followed by redlining and hiking up interest rates on home ownership. So imagine that you could fix this problem by giving more money back to HBCUs, paying off student loans, giving either a special health care or no down payment for a home, just so many things. Money for business loans. Business grants. So you give out business grants. Just so many things. But in the wake of doing that and doing some research, I realized that the HR40 bill had a meeting on April 14th, and Herschel Walker had something to say. This is Herschel Walker. Oops, that wasn't his face? Okay. I'll let you take a look into a video in regards to what he had to say. Now, if you don't know what the HR40 bill, basically Sheila Jackson Lee sponsors a bill that talks about the effects of slavery and developing a proposal for reparations. So basically, this is a bill where they sit and talk and not do. And everyone knows ADOS is American descendants of slaves. So if there was slavery, if you're immigrant and slavery happened in maybe the UK or the Caribbean, that country should be responsible. But if you are a descendant of an American slave, we believe that the American descendants should be compensated. And of course, you would have to either be 50 or 60% Black, because anyone who is who could pass for white, if they were to say, oh, well, my great grandfather was an American slave, that's not good enough, because it has to be something where you are considered, people have treated you as Black, and if you're passing for white, most likely you haven't. But that's not here. I'm not here right now to actually challenge the whole people who don't understand ADOS or where is our money going to come from. I'm here to challenge this guy. I did it again. I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip so you can hear what he had to say and how he used the Bible to try to tell us that reparations is not good. Because who else used the Bible to try to put Black people in their place?
Chairman and ranking members, I thank you for this opportunity to speak on reparation, which has been spoken about many times over my lifetime, but over the past year has become a hot topic. I asked the question, why? There's been many surveys show that a large percentage of Black and white teens would say racism is better today than yesterday. We use Black power to create white guilt. My approach is biblical. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? I never want to put anyone's religion down, but my religion teach togetherness. Reparation teach separation. Slavery ended over 130 years ago. How can a father be asked his son to spend prison time for a crime he committed? In the case we speak of, we're researching farther back in history, a history many are not taught or spoken about in school. America is the greatest country in the world to me, a melting pot of a lot of great races, a lot of great minds that have come together with different ideas to make America the greatest country on earth. Many have died trying to get into America. No one is dying trying to get out. Reparation, where would the money come from? Does it come for all the other races except the Black taxpayers? Who is Black? What percentage of Black must you be to receive reparation? Do you go to 23andMe or a DNA test to determine the percentage of Blackness? Some American ancestors just came to this country 80 years ago. Their ancestor wasn't even here during slavery. Some Black immigrants weren't here during slavery, nor their ancestors. Some states didn't even have slavery. We as Black Americans have always wanted what the Constitution stated, all men, Black, white, and today Latino, Asian, Italian, etc., should be guaranteed the alienability rights of life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Years later, after slavery ended, Dr. King, I Have a Dream speech, said, the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was a great beacon of light, but hundreds of years later, we're still not free because of segregation and discrimination. Today, I call that reparation. I asked my mom, who is in her mid-80s, her thought on reparation. Her words, I do not believe in reparation. Who is the money going to go to? Has anyone thought about paying the families who lost someone in the Civil War, who fought for their freedom? Your dad and I taught you, speaking of me, to provide for you and your family through a good education and hard work. If you give a man a fish, you feed him a day. You teach him to fish, you feed him a lifetime. Reparation is only feeding you for a day. It's removing the sign of for whites only, replacing the sign for no education here. Black Americans asking for a hand up, not a handout. Another big question, who is the guilty party? Should we start at the beginning where African Americans sold the African American ancestors into slavery and to a slave trader who eventually sold the African American ancestors to slave owners? The slave owners who had no success and no luck trying to make a Native American whose land they took become their slave because the Native American ran away. Well, they thought it was fine then to use African American who didn't know the country, didn't know the language, didn't know the religion, and they didn't run away. So I asked, why reparation? Well, slavery is because to the year 2021, still talking about reparation, not equal education, not to compare a game to a horrible period in my life, but as I fought shoulder to shoulder with my fellow football brothers of other races, I saw struggles they were encountering the same as I. And I heard them speak to their parents of problems my family were dealing with as well. If a Black player would have been given something different than any other player, it would have created problems within the team, separation and division. Ezekiel 18:20, the righteousness of the right shall be upon him. The son shall not suffer for the crime of the father, nor the father suffer the crime of the son, unless either father or son know beforehand the father or son was a criminal. To help any race, provide them with a good quality education and help incentivize through opportunities with responsibilities, which helps generations in the future. If reparation is a fee or a correction for a terrible sin of slave owners, government, and others, but we punish the non-guilty party, is it not creating division or separation with different races? I feel it continues to let us know we're still African American rather than just American. Reparation or atonement is outside the teaching of Jesus Christ, who you are teaching, who will not be teaching the word of God. So I speak back.
All right. Now, you saw that clip. If you teach a man to fish, he will be able, or no, if you give a fish, he'll eat for a day. Reparations is not something that would be a day, even if you only gave money, which it shouldn't be. If you actually wanted to repair, you would do a whole lot more equitable things. As I mentioned before, things that are non-monetary that you can fix and repair what you have done. So this would be astronomical. This wouldn't be something that, oh, after the day after we get money or that you repair, that's going to be it. This is not a handout. This is money owed to us. How is giving money to us a handout? But what do I expect? You know, this guy is just like a Candace Owens, just like a Stacey Dash, Omarosa. You're not, you know what? Give me your black card back. It's revoked. It is revoked. You can stay over there. I don't want to hear an apology later. Stay over there. Like Beyonce said, to the left. All right. Um, so that's it. I think that he's long gone. All right. Anyhow, tell me what you think in regards to what he said about reparations, and comment down below, because no one's asking for a handout, and no one is saying that everybody is doing bad. There are people doing good. I myself am doing good, but that does not mean that everyone who is black like me doing just as well. There are people who are still affected. All right. And you have to realize people only want to pinpoint slavery, but I have a grandmother who lived through Jim Crow who would beg the differ. And you know what? I think I might want to ask her what are her thoughts in regards to reparations. I think I might do that. She's nearly 100 years old. I'd like to know what she thinks about it. All right. Comment and tell me your thoughts in regards to what Herschel Walker had to say. Do you agree with him or do you not?